Okay, I'm going to write up the values I got. Make sure you check with yourself. And questions will be asked in a minute. Okay. Any questions on those values? Perfect. Okay. Tangent is going to get a little funky. We cannot use our hand trick, but one thing we do know about tangent is that it is sine over cosine. So you can do your division and figure this out. So like tangent of 0 would be 0 because we have 0 over 1. So this is going to be 0. This would be 1/2 divided by root 3 over 2. So we're going to get root 3 over 3 when you rationalize your fractions so that we don't have any square roots on the bottom. This one, we have the same thing over, so it's going to be 1. Here we get the square root of 3. And for 90, since we're dividing by 0 here, we have cosine is 0, and so that's on the denominator. It's going to be undefined. So you can just put a big U there, that'll be fine. Okay. Now what we know for cosecant and secant and cotangent is they're going to be the reciprocals. They're flipped, right? So what we can do here is we can use these and just flip them. So we have 1 over 0, so that's going to be undefined too. And then flip this, we're going to get 2. Root 2 over 2, we're going to get root 2. Two over root 3. I didn't rationalize that one, sorry. My bad, guys. And 1 there. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill the rest of this in just because we're running short on time today. But you guys can check it out on your own and we'll practice with these more as time goes on. And I think I wrote tangent on your last row down here. Fix that, it's supposed to be cotangent. My bad. Okay, so does anybody have questions on this? We'll practice more with it every day. But the more familiar with this you are, it'll help. You're going to have to know these values for upcoming tests and quizzes, and having this hand trick will help you. You can take the stickers off your fingers now. I like them. Or you can leave them, it'll help you with the next problem. So here we go. Does everybody have these down? Yep? Okay. Perfect. Let's do this one together. So, write an equation involving sine, cosine, tangent that can be used to find the value of x. Then solve the equation and round to the nearest 10. Okay. Well, I don't know what this value is. We don't have an x. Or we have an x, we don't know what its value is though. So that's not going to help me too much. But I do know that we need to find, in order to find the value of x, we can use our trig functions. And I have this one value here. It's 30. So that means this would be my opposite. This is my adjacent. And this is my hypotenuse. And if I know these two values, I can figure out my adjacent and my hypotenuse. So the cosine of theta, which is 30, is going to be our adjacent over hypotenuse. That's what we learned earlier, right? And I know these values, so let's put some in. We have cosine of 30 equals x over 8. Oh shoot. How do I solve for x?
Multiply both sides by 8
Okay,
to get the 8 out of it.
but can we leave that as our answer?
No. But
No.
then we know what cosine 30 is because we just did our chart.
We do. Does anybody else have an idea of what cosine 30 would be? Bridget? From our table, do we know what cosine of 30 is?
Square root of 3 over 2.
It is. We have the square root of 3 over 2 equals x over 8, right? You can multiply 8 either way. Do it either way you want. But I'm going to go ahead and cross multiply. Because I like it. And it's kind of fun. Oh my goodness. Good. Good. Oh gosh. God bless you. So we get 8 root 3 equals 2x. From here I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And I get x equals 4/3.
I had a question.
Yeah, go for
What
it.
if I didn't like sine? Since I know that that angle's 30 degrees.
You don't
and it's
like
a right.
Sine or you don't like cosine?
Cosine, sorry.
It's okay.
Alright, so if I don't like cosine, since I know it's a right angle, I know the other angle up top there is 60,
You do?
right?
Yep.
So then I can use sine instead of cosine.
You could. You could definitely do that. So then from here you find the sine. Let's do that. So we know the sine of 60 equals what? So we have x, because this is our opposite then. This is going to turn into our opposite once we find that. So opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse stays the same. So x over
8.
8. So what's the sine of 60?
It's the same thing, root 3 over 2.
Right, it is.
So I'm going to get the same answer.
You sure will. Yeah. So there's multiple ways to do this. I like to use the information that's given, but do it however you find works best for you. Okay, we have one more example to get through. Why don't you give that a shot on your own and see what you can find? I gave you a couple little hints there. You can use your calculators for this too. Yeah, otherwise you might have a little difficulty. we're running short on time here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and explain this real quick. Let's see here. So in order to find x, we are going to find our sine of 35 because we have an opposite and we have a hypotenuse. So we can go ahead and find the sine of 35 equals x over, whoa. Back it up. Sorry. That might be a little hard to do because we're using two variables. So let's restart. Let's find the cosine because we have an adjacent ready. Or already. Ooh. Cosine of 35 equals 10 over x. Now, it's important that you know how to use your calculator for these trig functions as well, because we will have calculator and non-calculator proportions to our tests. That's kind of why I gave you an angle that wasn't on our special values sheet. But anyway. So you can do the cosine, you can do the tangent, either way. I'm just going to write it out. So x equals 7, and then your z is going to equal, your z is going to equal 12.2, and then we know that a triangle equals 180 degrees, subtract 90, subtract 35, and we're going to get y equals 55 degrees. We can go through that one more in more detail tomorrow, but we are almost done here. So that is that. I do want to pass out a couple things. One, extra credit. Who doesn't love extra credit? You all need to do it. Right? I know. You need some help there. And your homework. Okay? So I will hand those out to you. We will talk more about this tomorrow.
Sorry, I had a test. I'm not trying to be rude.
You are not rude.
What's your test in? Number theory?
Oops, hand out two.
Thank you.
Okie dokie. Any questions before we leave for tomorrow? Yes?
How do you find this? Using calculator?
How do you find?
X equal to 7 and Z equal to 12.2.
So, in the calculator,
Okay, so you have used calculator, right?
yes, I use this, and we're going to do more like this tomorrow. We just, with the short periods today, we're going to
So if you
go
are
through this quickly.
allowed to use calculators, then why to do, like, remember all those values?
Yes, because we're going to have a calculator section to our test and a non-calculator section to our test.
Okay.
And so those special angles will be used on the non-calculator part. And then we'll have a calculator section where you're going to find problems like this. I do want you to know how to use your calculator to find these things because it's good to use the resources that we have. But sometimes those resources aren't available, and we want to know those special angles that you have memorized.
So
that
will
we
you
did.
teach how to use calculators?
It's already taught.
Yeah,
Oh, it's already
yeah, those are things you just don't know.
And you need to know the unit circle for so
We are doing the unit circle.
yeah, next. Well, those are the
Tomorrow.
values of them. So.
Right, but we just didn't talk about the pi over 2 and stuff. We'll
yeah.
talk about that tomorrow.
That's right.
Okay, other questions? Otherwise, have a fabulous Thursday evening and an even better Friday.